So we started. Welcome, everyone, to our very first episode of the Awkward People podcast, and we're both really excited to get this started. I'm Alex Crone,
I'm Priscilla Gonzalez.
and the main reason why we started this podcast is to uplift uh, artists in all aspects of art, whether it's acting, stand-up comedy, visual art.
Yeah, we're musicians. We just want to interview people from different facets of art. That way we could promote their talents, and we also get to know a little bit more about them in the process.
Yep, and I'm really looking forward to doing this. And how did we meet? How did we?
We actually met through a your sister. I remember one day me and John were hanging out by the pool, and it was like 4th of July, and you said you were on your way to go hang out with some friends, and you had this ridiculous like American flag bandana on and like shorts and a shirt with the cutoffs all the way down here.
Back before, back when I was really patriotic.
Yeah, freeing the nipple and everything. And you guys like, hey, what are you up to? And we're like, oh, we're just swimming. And you're like, cool, I'll see you later. And I actually ended up sleeping over that night and with Jasmine.
That's right.
And I think we just started talking from there and we became friends. I don't even remember how we ended up hanging out by ourselves without Jasmine.
Right. Well, so we were in theater together,
Mm.
but we didn't actually meet until after we had both graduated high school, because we were both taking drama with our former acting teacher, Mr. Dykeman,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we were doing improv and we were doing plays and stuff. And I remember the very first play I saw you, and I'll never forget. You were wearing this. It was like a. Was it like a leopard?
It was leopard print
It
tights
was.
and a see-through blouse with a really hot pink bra.
That's right. Gosh, that was so long ago. And I remember it being pitch black in the theater, and all I see is you walking in these. I didn't know you yet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I had no idea who you were. But as soon as you walked on stage, I saw one butt cheek go bam, 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 and I started cracking up. Now like when you're in a live performance,
Yeah.
especially theater, and if something, I it was a comedy, right? It was a
Mm-hmm.
comedy play, so granted you're allowed to laugh, but I don't think it was the right moment. And I was just trying to hold in my laughter so much, and it was just so difficult because of how funny you were walking.
I know. I remember our theater teacher said, I want you to look as bimbo-y as possible. So I had for one rehearsal, they had me try out the like sheer top with the pink bra, and I just so happened to bring the wrong bra that day. And Mr. Dykeman's like, that's the look. That's what we want. Wear it. I remember being so embarrassed because it was like the first time like my family came to come watch me perform, and I was really nervous, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm not only kissing a boy in this play, but I'm also like half naked in a high school play."
What was the play again?
It was Neil Simon's Proposals.
Proposals. That's right.
Yeah.
What was your character?
Sami?
Sami. What was she? What was she, a prostitute? Was she a
No.
no?
She was just like a cousin of someone in
Oh
the play
gosh.
that ended up liking this like what would you call him, like this Italian guy, which was PJ,
That's right.
and he was really big and
I
broad and
remember that he was wearing this like 1970s
mhm.
like type of shirt where the collars were like sticking out on either side with a jacket.
Yeah, and and the gold
Man,
chains too.
the gold chains. That's right.
It
Yeah.
was so corny, but it was hilarious.
The first play I was in was I was zombie number 2
Nice.
for Night of the Living Dead. This was 2008, 2009, something like that.
Mhm.
And I remember the makeup that they had put on. It was, I forget what the material was. It was like
Latex.
yeah, it was like latex mixed with something else, and a bunch of us got a huge rash on like all over our face.
You
I
didn't need the
remember
makeup then.
I was
You already look sickly. You didn't need the makeup then.
wow. Boom, roasted. And I remember like one of the parents were like threatening to sue, and but we did the play and it was awesome. But I remember the principal telling us that it was just way too graphic for high school, so they wanted us to make it really, really lighthearted. So they made us do a Thriller dance.
That's so corny.
We had to learn the Thriller dance, which was pretty cool, but it was super corny and it kind of like threw off the night because you want to scare people. It was around Halloween,
Mhm.
but it's high school, so I guess it made sense, and I guess some people were just
I
not having it with all the blood and gore.
but I feel like it was only that year because the year that your sister did Night of the Living Dead, um, he did you see how much blood he used? He blasted one of her friends with like a bunch of blood and he was drenched. Were you
Who
there for that one? I
maybe?
think it was this like taller guy named Javier,
Oh yeah,
and
uh-huh.
he got drenched.
What? Okay, so I remember.
He was soaked in like fake blood because I think it was their last night, and Dykeman filled it up to the top.
Wait, you know what? So no, that was because I know they had done Night of the Living Dead a few times after I had graduated,
Uh,
so I wasn't there for that one. But I do remember they had a machine that had these two like metal poles sticking out through behind the window. Filled it with leaves. They filled it with fake blood, and it was supposed to be a car explosion scene towards like the end of the play.
mm-hmm.
And we had to like break through this like fake candy glass. And I remember one of the main actors. We broke through the window. We were sticking our hands through it, and he comes in with his fake rifle, and he's using the rifle to not let us break through the window because that was what was happening in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And all I remember is seeing the back of the rifle come forward and knocking me right on my forehead, and I swear I fall back and I black out for like 10 seconds.
And you didn't have to act.
No, I think he was doing method. He was definitely method acting.
Oh God.
So was I. Oh man. Um but we've been friends since, and gosh, it's been like 10 years now.
Like 9 years.
9 years. Jeez.
It feels like a long time.
It does feel like a long. It feels longer than that.
It feels longer than that only because I feel like when I hang out with you, it doesn't feel like our friendship doesn't feel like work since we're always doing fun things. It's always really creative.
Yep. Yep.
So like I actually have a lot of fun as opposed to when I hang out with some people, I feel like I have to make time for them.
And then you get drained.
Yeah, I get drained. Some people just have this energy that I'm like, oh my God, get away from me. But like usually when I hang out with Alex, we're like, oh shit, I have to go to work tomorrow. Like that sucks. And I think those are the kind of friendships you want to have, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you hang out with somebody that drains you all the time, that makes you feel like crap, like what's the point of even being around them?
I call those energy vampires.
Mm-hmm.
They suck the living energy out of you, and then you wonder why. You're like, oh man, like I just feel so out of energy, and
Yeah.
you gotta look at the people you're hanging out with sometimes.
Yeah, it's exhausting. We had a couple of those in our friend group. After I left them, I was all like, thank God that's over. Let's go grab some fries or something.
Yep. I also wanted to talk about what got you into theater.
Oh my God, it's just such a typical story. I actually had been with like my boyfriend of 4 years, and then we broke up because he was gay. And that has nothing to do with anything. He's a good person. I still have mad respect for him, and I just realized he follows this podcast page. Um, hello. But I was really sad because I lost a lot of friends after that
What,
time in my
really?
life. Everybody that I was friends with stopped being friends with me.
Because
Yeah, because they're like, we agree, you are toxic. I agree too. I was crazy. But but I was in high school. I didn't know any better, and I was just trying to find myself, and like I took one theater class with Dykeman, and I was like, oh, these are my people. Like,
Yeah.
why do I feel like I all of a sudden identify with a group of people? I've always felt kind of like an outcast, and like I didn't belong, and I know I've always been a little bit weirder than most people, and stop. I've always felt a little bit weird and out of place. And I finally found a home. It felt safe and I could express myself creatively. And it didn't matter how weird I was
Yeah.
because there was always someone weirder.
Especially in drama.
Yeah.
Always, there's always that one person.
There's always that one person who like is drawing creepy anime in the corner.
And it's always the one who plays Yu-Gi-Oh out in the quad.
Yeah. By the B, huh?
By the B building.
By the B building. They'd be back there doing all the moves. And I was just like, please stop. See, like that's how I'm like, you know what? I think I am normal. Like I don't pretend to be a dragon in the quad. I think I'll be fine socially.
You're like, I'll pretend to be a dragon in the theater room.
Yeah,
where
it
that
belongs.
I think so my mom put me into an improv class. Well, actually, I got to backtrack. It was like around 2003, 2004. My parents had divorced and my grandfather passed away. And I remember that, so vividly. And I was just, in this deep, depression. I knew I was sad, but I didn't know like what it really was. And I felt loss and I was grieving. And so I was looking for like an outlet, what will make me feel better. I tried video games and it wasn't video games. But I was watching a lot of Robin Williams and Jim Carrey movies, like constantly. And I had this like almost like ability to just remember movie lines and I could like recite them over and over again. And so instead of playing sports with my friends, I would be in the quad area reenacting these movies to everyone, and people would surround and I'd make them laugh. I hope they were laughing with me,
Not at you.
not at me. And my teacher at the time noticed that, and she was like, "Hey, Alex," she's like, "You're really good at memorizing these like movies." She's like, "You should audition for the school play." I was like, "Okay." So me and my buddy at the time, we both auditioned for this show called Damn Yankees. It was like a musical, and we did it. We did the play, and then we started doing improv. But have you done improv?
Not a whole lot.
I'm
I
not
did a
sure.
little bit in college, but I don't think I was really good at it. It stressed me out to think on the spot. It made me panic an unreasonable amount. I think it all has to do with like my OCD. I have to have things in order and I have to know like the definite outcome of things. And that made me uneasy.
So you're better with scripts
I'm better with
because you
scripts.
know already what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I gotta act this way.
Yeah.
At this point, I gotta get mad. I gotta feel this. But in improv, it's
It's
anything
like,
goes.
here you go, anything. And the fact that I could have anything makes it harder to choose.
Yep. I
So
feel
that's
that.
really hard. But how did you started with your middle school teacher, right?
Um, yes. No, actually. So okay. So after that play, my mom had put me in an improv class
Mhm.
in Bellflower at this place, which is now a stand-up comedy club,
Oh, so
which
you
I
have
thought was really cool because they weren't. I guess they weren't sure what was going to happen to the business, and then this comedian and his wife bought it, and they turned it into a comedy club, which I've got a show there June 30th at the stand-up club in Bellflower. I think it's a Friday or Saturday. But anyways, I was doing improv there. And then from there, I was like, okay, I really like this. I gotta continue it. So then I was doing it at West Middle School, and yeah, fell in love with it.
That's crazy though, because you're like, I always wanted to perform there and the comedy club in Bellflower.
Yep.
And you have performed there.
And
Technically.
I have performed there
Technically
as
you
a
have.
kid when I was 9 or 10 years old. I was doing my first, comedy shows there,
Yeah.
and to think that I'll be performing stand up there
It's
as
a
an
very
adult is weird.
it's like a full circle moment.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
super weird.
It is. Now you can tell your comedian friends, I've done this before. Step aside.
I'm only doing 5 minutes. They're doing like 10 or 15.
God, I can't even imagine doing that much time.
You'll get there.
Eventually, but as for now, I feel so I feel like a lot of nerves, especially because we have this upcoming show that he actually produces on it's going to be on June 3rd. And I feel like I could be good at it if I let go. And I tend to be really nervous and really dependent on script, kind of like what we talked about before, like not knowing how the audience is going to react. I need like a definite response. It's like
Right.
I went to go watch Hairspray yesterday, right? And the audience already knows they're going to like cheer for the mom, Tracy's mom.
Hmm.
They know they're going to cheer for I think Mama was the lady that was a record store.
I haven't seen Hairspray in a while.
But they know you're gonna cheer because those are two iconic characters. You know how the audience feels about the characters, and not knowing how the audience is gonna feel about me makes me very uncomfortable. And it has to do with me like just wanting to be liked by people because I come off like I have a resting sad face and it's slightly bitchy. So I am
Do I have a resting anything face?
I have a resting happy face. I have a resting sad face.
Let's see it.
Look, watch. So it's pretty sad. It's frowny. So I'm just like, I don't know if people are gonna like
It's the
me.
Gemini.
It is. And lately I've been wearing a beanie to work. I work at a coffee shop with a green apron, if you know, you know. And I've been wearing a beanie to work, and people think I'm tougher over a beanie.
Mm.
And to me, that's crazy because no respect when I have my visor, but the beanie is a game changer. I people are afraid to ask me for like more sugar. Can I have 2 sugars in the raw, please?
Can you make that decaf?
I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you said hot. They're like, no, it's fine. Ice, and they drive off. I'm like,
Probably because you're in East LA.
yeah, but like, it's funny because they see the beanie, but then there's like me like this at the window, all smiling, all big. So I'm all like, they're
They're
probably
like,
very confused.
they're like, who's this happy sad chola?
Happy sad Chola. Those are the ones you need to look out for. They're like named little clown, little giggles, little sad face.
Did we have any resting faces when you first met us?
Well, I mean, you guys both just showed them off now, so I mean, I thought they looked okay.
What were your first impression of us?
Oh, now you're gonna get me in this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Cameo.
First impression. Well, I mean, you guys are obviously new. I mean, I got the impression because you told me, that you're new to comedy and it's something you want to do. But I always admire when people just jump into something with both feet. You know what I mean? Most people would be like, "Oh, I've got to do this first and do that." And just based on like Alex, I looked up some of your stuff. You just dive right in, and it's like, well, and you got to have a little bit of that. I don't care what people are gonna think about me to get started because that's how you learn.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
you gonna have to develop,
Yeah.
Priscilla, a little bit of a thick skin because, yeah, if you're worried about what people think about you, you're in the wrong
Let me tell you though,
industry.
she's got really thick skin. Like, don't mess with Pris.
I know. I mean, if I really have to, I'll bring out the East LA, right?
Let's
But
hear
it's
the East LA. Come on, come on.
Like,
like don't fuck with me, fool.
is that what you tell people when they order drinks?
Oh
From
my
you?
god. The people ordering the drinks get on my last nerves. Okay, this is my favorite, okay? They'll be like, "Can I have 16 pumps of vanilla and 1 Splenda, please?" Why the fuck do you want the Splenda for if you already did the damage? You already got your diabetes in a cup to go. Put in the extra pump of vanilla and leave.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't get it. And they'll be like, "Oh, and caramel drizzle and sweet vanilla foam." I'm like, that's already like 50 grams of sugar.
Jesus, that many?
That many.
That much?
That many. Kaiser's right there, so if they need it, they can go walk right over after they have their little sugar shock.
One of the so I was working at a very famous Cuban bakery here in LA, and of course our customers were Latino,
Mhm.
and a lot of them would be like, "Oh, does the guayaba cheese have cheese in it?" I'm sorry, say that again. Does the guayaba cheese have cheese in it? It's in the name. A guayaba cheese strudel.
All the ingredients are in the name.
That's what it is.
They do the same thing at Starbucks, except they'll be like, what comes in the sausage, egg, and cheddar? I'm like, ma'am, The name of the sandwich is the
Very.
ingredients. Oh, so it has sausage. I don't know. Why don't you order it and look? I don't know what to tell them anymore. I'm out of words. Like, you think that things are obvious to people, and it's like the first time I truly realized that common sense isn't that common.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating.
Yep.
Because it's things that are obvious to me, and sometimes I try to be like a little bit more empathetic because my mom says stuff like that to me, like, it's obvious, it's obvious, how do you not know these things?
You're like, if it
But
was obvious, I wouldn't ask, or I wouldn't.
yeah, but then I put myself in those shoes and I
Yeah.
think, what was not obvious about the sausage, egg, and cheese? And I feel like as the years go by, I'm becoming more like my mother. My patience is worn out completely.
This is America. It really is. Welcome to retail.
It'll break you.
It'll
It is not for the weak. It's not.
but you do get a lot of good comedy material
I
from
do.
working retail.
I do. Because there's different kind of people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. So it's interesting to get to know how to like talk to different people.
Yep.
Like, I get a lot of, there's like different levels of cholo, for example, right? That I've experienced. Like, there's like the nice ones, the hardworking ones, the retired ones, and the ones that'll like beat you up if you get the caramel frap wrong.
Cholos are ordering caramel frap.
Yes. Okay. So there was this cholo that used to come through all the time. God forbid he sees this because he knows where I work. He used to come in all the time, and he used to act tough and blow like weed in my face when I would like give him change, and I
What?
would literally be like, "What the hell?" Right? And you would think that someone that looked as hard as that and had like 3 teardrops would order like, a black cold brew.
Just straight coffee, straight, nothing in
Yes, I want water that tastes like cigarettes. But you know what he ordered? A caramel frap with extra caramel drizzle, and don't forget the sprinkles. And to me, that was so bizarre. I'm like, you're gonna order that wimp ass drink, and you're gonna talk to me like that? I don't think so.
He really wanted the sprinkles.
He really wanted the sprinkles. It was like the sprinkles or else.
Don't mess with little sweets.
Little
He'll mess you
sweet-
up.
Little sweet tooth.
Speaking of sweet,
Nice transition.
so, but you recently got into doing comedy more.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really nervous because I think I spoke about something kind of vulnerable on my set, and it was my first set ever, and I think I just went all in for it being the first time. I talked about like having vaginismus.
What is vaginismus?
I'm so embarrassed because
We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to
But
talk about it.
yeah, I talked about it, and I thought that the audience was gonna be like really shocked and not take it well, and that there's gonna be crickets, right? Because I saw a lot of older Latina women.
That's what you thought.
Yeah,
How the night was, man.
and because there's a lot of older Latina women that reminded
Shut up.
me of my mother in the audience, and I was like, oh my God, if my mom was here, she would have been like, why are you posting things like that? Like, you know what our family is gonna think? I'm like, our family has a lot of teen pregnancy. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine talking about vaginismus. You know what I mean?
It's a Catholic thing.
It's a Catholic thing. If you don't have an alcoholic, a teen pregnancy, and a drug addict in your family, you're not doing it right.
You're not a true Latino.
You're not a true Latino. So I thought they were gonna be like the most disappointed out of the crowd, but they actually laughed the most. Because I was looking into the crowd, and this like señora was sliding off her chair. And it honestly took me by surprise so much, and that's why I kept like nervous laughing and like kind of like normally laughing, because I was laughing at them
Right.
because I didn't expect that. But
I mean, each audience is different. You don't know. You don't know, who will be receptive and who will, it's just a matter of taking risks.
yeah, and I've been trying to practice that more, because I think I've told you this before, but you honestly do inspire me in that way, because you do take steps kind of fearlessly.
Oh.
You do. I kind of look up to you in that way. I do, because you do things that I would never even think of doing. Like doing stand up, that's hard. And before I used to be like, whatever, you just go up. And then I did it, and I was sweating. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack before I went up, and I said like, shit, Alex does this all the time, and he just like like you do care what people think, but you're like, My dream of doing this is more than my fear, you know? And to me that's super powerful. And I do look up to you, and I'll be like, no, I really do.
Yay.
I don't tell you this because it's cheesy. I'm like, I'm gonna save it for the podcast. I could be cheesy there, but I truly do. I truly do mean
Oh,
it.
that means a lot, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think I look at it at like, um, one, I think the older I get, the less I care about what people think about what I'm doing with my life.
Mhm.
To a certain extent, because if your family sees you, messing up or, having going through some struggles, they're going to tell you stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because they want the best for you. But, when it comes to doing what you love, I say F it. You know, that's really all it is. It's just, what's your why? What's your reason? And it's it's tough, but it's something, I
Mhm.
face, and I try to like not listen to the naysayers and not listen to those voices in your head, because I remember we were talking about this the other day, like your competitors aren't the people around you. It's
Mhm.
it's yourself,
Yeah.
right? I got to be better than the person I was yesterday.
Mhm.
That's my biggest competitor.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about that a little bit after my set, and I said I want to be better, and I think you asked better than what, and I said better than I did right now.
Hmm.
I said I don't think that you should in anything that you do, you should never feel comfortable. Like I've done it. There's always room for growth,
Yeah,
and I think that people that just sit complacent, those are the people that never progress,
right.
right? And like I just think it's such a waste of time to keep doing your craft if you're not gonna like try to be better. How can I improve? How can I take more classes?
Hmm.
I don't like if you think that you're comfortable and that you're the best, then I don't think you really know what like discovering those art forms really are.
No, totally. Like I remember auditioning into this theater art school in LA. So many people were, trying to go in, and when we first started the classes, start off with this big group of people, and just little by little, just people were weeded out because they realized, oh crap,
Mhm.
this is hard.
Yeah.
This is really hard. They went in there thinking, I'm gonna be famous out of this. I gotta be famous out of this.
Mm-mm.
But it's like, no, the whole goal isn't to be, you know, famous, no matter what it is, no matter what your craft is.
Yeah.
I don't think the goal should be for fame. I think it should be, um, I think the whole reason for doing stuff like that is I totally lost my train of thought.
I think to
You know where
improve
I'm going
one,
with this?
I feel like it's to improve, like what I was saying, it's to improve your craft and you have to love what you're doing.
Yes, that's what
If
it is.
there is no love and passion to back up whatever you're doing, then there's no point of doing it because fame isn't going to make you a better actor.
No.
I've seen a lot of actors that be like, well, it sounds bad saying it, but they're like Nepo babies. And they got into the industry because like their parents are famous, but not because they're any good. And I think that that should even put the pressure on more to go take acting classes, go
Hmm.
improve it, meet people, network.
Experience.
Yeah, kind of like what you do when we go to the improv or the comedy store. Like you'll go out of your way to talk to people and network because that's how you build your audience, you build some support. And I think a lot of people forget that they think like, oh, I'm just gonna take this acting class and then I'm gonna be famous and then I'm gonna be like
Right.
the
And
next
that's
Brad Pitt. And that's not true. You really have to put in the work. And what people don't realize is that when you go into an art, you spend so much money before you even see the fruits of that success.
Yep.
You have to take classes. You have to keep pushing, no matter how many people tell you, like, you're not good enough for this. That's their opinion because unless you're good enough for the right person, like the right person that comes along and is like, you know what, I see something in you. That's all that
Hmm.
matters. It doesn't matter if, like, your family doesn't think you're good, your friend doesn't think you're good. Fuck, they think. If the right
Really.
person sees you and you're performing and they go, that guy's funny, and there's a scout in the audience, then that you only need that one person.
Right. Which is rare. It's rare that that happens,
Yeah.
but it does happen sometimes. And uh, for the last few things that we talked about, I kind of want to talk about you and I's both first times doing stand up. So,
We kind of already went over mine, that I felt nervous. How about we go over yours?
okay. So in 2019, I auditioned for this a theater arts class, and I didn't realize that they had a stand up comedy class as you know as part of their curriculum. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I
Mhm.
never thought I would ever do it. I just wanted to be an actor. That's all
Mhm.
I wanted. I didn't think I'd be able to do stand up comedy, and because I was looking at those people like these are gods.
Mhm.
I'm an atheist, but if there are gods out there, it's my favorite comedians of all time. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm never gonna do this. I took the class and I ended up really, really liking it.
Yeah.
And part of our final was to perform at the Comedy Store, which is like the
Sick.
mecca of the mecca of all comedy places you want to be. It's at the Comedy Store in West Hollywood. And the teacher of the class, David Connolly, gave me that opportunity to perform there. And so we were taking the class. The class lasted about 3 months. And, I was starting to feel more and more confident.
Mhm.
That same night, dude, I swear I felt my heart beating so fast. And I felt my left arm giving up. I was like, this is a heart attack. These are the symptoms: a pacing heart and your left arm giving out. This is it.
All clammy.
And I go up to him, I'm like, David, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. He's like, Alex, you got this, man. He's like, remember what I told you?
Mhm.
Pretend like you're speaking to your 5 closest friends. All right. All right. So I kept trying to think that the whole night. 5 minutes went by like that. But I still had that in mind. And as soon as I started thinking that, dude, I felt like, I'd been doing stand up
Mhm.
for years. Obviously not, but it felt like that because of that uh, little bit of advice that he gave me, which is I try to stick to that
Yeah.
uh, as much as I can, and it's helped me so much.
And do you do that every time? Do you think back to that moment and you're like, my 5 closest friends, my 5 closest friends?
I try to. Sometimes I forget because depends where the show is or how big the audience is. You still get nervous. That's gonna
Mhm.
happen. You know, uh, it's inevitable. But I think if you are nervous, that means you care, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
If you're not nervous and you feel that you're not nervous, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah. Because I think our theater teacher once said like nerves are like you wanting to be good at it.
Yep.
And like when you're not nervous, it's because you're being cocky
Yep.
and you think you're ready. It's like the comfort thing I said. You already feel like you've plateaued.
And then because of that, you bomb.
You do. And I've seen it. I've seen it with a couple comics that were like lined up with you and a few of the places we went to, they're like, yeah, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. And crickets. I was literally like, that's pretty bad.
Awkward.
And sometimes I think something I used a lot during my first set was I use the nerves as part of my set. Like I'd be like, I'm panicked right now. Anyway, let me go back to my set.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I couldn't stop laughing my whole set. And I think a lot of people came up to me after and were like, oh, we thought you were laughing at your own joke, so we thought it was even funnier. And I was like, I
No,
really
really.
wasn't.
No, but dude, you did great. Seriously, I thought you did better than you thought you did.
I know.
Seriously, and that takes a lot of guts, and because it's totally different from acting. And like we
Yeah.
talked about, in acting, you have a script, you know where you're gonna go. Yeah, sure. In comedy, you generally know what you're gonna talk about, but
Hmm.
depending on the room, it goes different. Because I've seen comedians, and they'll have their set, but then they go totally off tangent,
Hmm.
and they're like, "I was supposed to do a set tonight," and they're just totally doing crowd work.
Yeah. I would love to get to that point because I love roasting people. I roast my family all the time, sometimes you.
That's a Latino thing.
Yeah, with peace and love. I mean, it comes part of your genetic, like, make,
Yep.
being able to roast people. And I feel like I do a good job at it because I saw some potential victims in the crowd. When I was
Oh
doing my
no.
set, I was like, oh, if I wasn't doing this, like, not script, but,
Yep.
thing I based my stand up off of, I would have totally roasted the two ladies in the front.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How come?
They just kept whispering to each other. But I don't remember what I would have said. But they kept like I was gonna make a comment on that.
They were besties.
Yeah, they were just like
Well, remember that couple I had to kick out?
They were annoying.
They were
Heckling.
they were heckling. They were plastered way before the show even started.
Mm-hmm.
And and I remember them just talking and talking and talking throughout the entire show. And I had to tell them, "Hey, if you guys don't keep it down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Oh,
They got scared.
they got so scared. Not even like 30 seconds after that, they dipped.
I know. And I think like a couple shows ago, you had someone really loud too. I just couldn't tell who it was.
I know who it was.
Oh, God. Was it who I'm thinking now? Yeah, just the whistling. And I think I kept hearing, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I was like, I hate that phrase now. Even if I see it in text, I could hear the yes, sir. And I can't do it. I'm like, if I hear that one more time, I don't know what I'm going to do. Whatever comes next is out of my control. It's my anger issues. They're going to be unleashed. Years of therapy in the trash. I can't do it.
Well, I feel like we are getting close to an end. I feel like we should mention the things that we've got going on. So we've got the June 3rd, the Creatures of Habit comedy show that's going to be at the Stay Gallery. It's a Saturday night. Doors open at 7. Comedy is from 8 to 9, and then we're going to have a live musical guest, my friend MJ Levine.
Also, Alex's grandma will be making some snacks for everybody. So you can have something in your belly before you start acting insane with the alcohol. So just saying, please. Oh, and I'm going to be in the show too.
She's going to be in it.
For
and
the
I'm
second
gonna host
time.
it.
For the second time, thank you for having me on. That's like a smaller form of nepotism because I know him. I'm not your child though, so but
Nope. That would be very weird.
That'd be really weird. But I get to be on it because of that, which is really cool. But I think I'm gonna try to venture out eventually because I'm getting comfy, as some would say.
Do a couple more shows before then, dude. Your anxiety is just gonna
Get the jitters out.
Yeah, get the jitters out.
I have to get memorized for sure. I'm gonna try to do it by this weekend.
Do it, dude. So we've got that coming up. We've also got a comedy web series that we have been writing.
Yeah.
Which shout out to our friend Adrian Hernandez, who, I mean, directed it. He
filmed
filmed
it,
it.
staged it.
He staged it. He was our gaffer. He was everything. So
Like
props
the
to
safety
him.
coordinator, everything. He made sure everybody was safe, felt comfortable, and that we liked all the shots. Honestly, he's the best that
Yep.
I've known of. I met like this far in this industry, and his stuff just looks beautiful.
Yep.
Like I recommend you guys watch that. I'll probably put that somewhere.
He's very talented, but we do have to get it edited. Once it's edited, it'll be out into the open world. And yeah, what else do we have going on?
I think that's it for now. And your show June 30th.
June 30th. That's going to be after the one I'm producing. That'll be towards the end of June. That's going to be at the Stand-Up Club in Bellflower, produced by my very funny friend, Hans Hilton, who is a great producer, really funny guy. Hans is the sweetest.
Mm-hmm.
He's like I love getting hugged by him.
Okay.
I do. He's very kind, and he gives genuine vibes all around. He's a cool dude. That'll be his show, Hans Hilton and Friends, at the Stand-Up Club. And I think that concludes our very first episode. So stay tuned for the next one.
Bye.
See you guys.